Let's project the top 10 college football playoff rankings for Week 12, shall we? After the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I'm not on a step note. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to project Week 12 college football playoff selection committee rankings that will drop Tuesday at 6 o'clock. That'd be Central Standard Time because that's where I live. Now, I want to get into these. I also want to encourage you to please sign up for my newsletter. If you do sign up between now and December 7th, you get an opportunity to be one of the people, you get an opportunity to be the person to win this OU lamp because words are hard. Looks like that. I write some pretty cool stuff. A little bit better at the writing thing than I am at most things, quite honestly. That's what the master's is in. So let's talk about the top 10, because the top 10 are teams for which I genuinely believe still have an opportunity to make it into the top 4, which is what the College Football Playoff Selection Committee is supposed to really be about. Probably explains why they suck when it goes from 11 to 25, but that's a different story. So taking a look at what it is when they started and what it was after this weekend of carnage, depending on how you want to draw it up. Number 1, I still got Ohio State. 73-14 victory over a 3-6 Maryland squad that ain't no good, was probably never going to be no good, but still, they did it without Chase Young, and they did it in style. I mean, they knew they needed to win it in style. We got Ryan Day calling timeouts up 42-0 because you're just trying to get more points. And I understand why they're doing it. They want to separate. They want to show everybody that they are the class team in college football. They've won every single game they've played by 20 points or more, to which people are like, Ohio State ain't played nobody. Okay, first of all, they're the only team in this top 10 who has played an entire schedule of FBS opponents. Second of all, Clemson didn't play nobody last year either. And what did they do to Notre Dame and Alabama except skull drag them? Number 1 team in college football is Ohio State. At number 2, got LSU, who got 46-41 victory against Alabama, their first over Alabama since 2011. And this one was in Tuscaloosa. So yes, they have an argument to be the number 1 team in the country because they also are undefeated. They also look outstanding, but they're just not as good defensively as Ohio State has been. Of course, LSU fans be like, yo, man, we played Texas, we played Florida, and now we played Alabama. We beat up Auburn. Who else do we need to destroy for you to make us the number 1 team in college football? Well, you'll get the SEC East Division champ, and we expect that to be Georgia, so you get another pelt to put on the wall. But if you get into the playoff, that's what it's about. And if you're 1 and 2, then that's what it's going to be. You don't actually have to play Ohio State until it's time to play Ohio State for all the marbles. LSU, you're number 2. It's fine. It's okay. It's a good place to be. At number 3, I got Clemson, who sent a message with a 55-10 stomping of North Carolina State. Took the Wolfpack out, neutered them, but then you got to remember that they already had their manhood taken by West Virginia back in September. But did we think this was going to go any other way? No, we did not. Trevor Lawrence looked good. Travis Etienne had another day. But the story is Brent Venables' defense just continues to kill people. And they held North Carolina State to 10 points. I'm saying all this to say that we thought that perhaps the turnover on the defensive line might be an issue or even a problem for Clemson. Like, nah, we're just that good. And Isaiah Simmons on defense is just that good. And yes, we can talk about Justin Ross and T. Higgins, and we can even talk about the ACC maybe being the 6th best of the 10 conferences in FBS this year. But we cannot say that Clemson has done anything other than drag people. Even as they put Charlotte and Wofford on the schedule, and the ACC hasn't been holding up its end, Clemson's like, we're just doing what we're told to do when we got to win this thing again because they're the defending champs. So I got them at number 3. At number 4, I got Minnesota. Look, they were 17 in the college football playoff selections poll, and I couldn't agree with that. I think that zeros are worth more than ones. I think if you got zeros in the loss column, you should be ranked on what you've done, not what we think you're going to do. And if you think that Minnesota is going to lose to Ohio State in a Big Ten championship, if you don't even think Minnesota is going to make it out of the Big Ten West, that's you. But what they've done right now is beat everybody in front of them, and they got a really great win against Penn State over the weekend. It's their first against a ranked opponent in their last 13 tries, and the first one they got since 1999 when they beat up on number 2 Penn State back in the day. PJ Fleck and his boys look good. Tanner Morgan looked good. Tyler Johnson looked good. Rashad Bateman looked good. Antoine Winfield Jr., like a bacon and egg sandwich, looked good. I don't know what else you want the Minnesota Golden Gophers to do, right, to get them into this playoff position. And we had this thing where if you're a Power 5 team and you beat up on Power 5 programs and you're undefeated, you get into the playoff. Because the other part about this that I find fascinating that gets me to number 5 in Baylor is if you count up the teams that go undefeated for an entire regular season, you don't get very far very quick, okay? You really don't. And when you talk about the teams that are able to finish through the postseason undefeated in the last 3 years, talk about Central Florida and Clemson. And Clemson might be the greatest of all time. And Central Florida didn't play in a Power 5 conference, so we're not including them in a 14 playoff, which I think is stupid. But that's also me because I think that zeros matter. I think the scoreboard matters. It doesn't matter what you look like. I care who did you beat, and did you beat them? Right? I mean, is that not what we're saying? Because if it matters what you look like in pads, then why are we playing the games? Why aren't we just looking at pageants? I think if you win the game and you win every game, you should be treated as if you won every game. So I got, of course, Minnesota at 4, Baylor at 5, because Minnesota has a better win than Baylor does at present. That win against Penn State, who was undefeated and was ranked number 4, and yet we're still here talking about this. Just stupidity here. Number 6, I got Penn State. They have a loss against an undefeated team in Minnesota. They have 1 loss. And number 5, I got UGA. They got the 1 loss against South Carolina. I understand. You're like, RJ, why do you have Bama at 8? I got Bama at 8 because, yeah, they got the 1 loss to an undefeated number 2 team in LSU. They also don't have the quality wins that you want to talk about in the way that Georgia does. Georgia has wins over Florida, and Georgia has wins over Notre Dame, and y'all want to tell me how good Notre Dame is. Bama's signature win is who? A&M. Texas A&M. 6-3 A&M. Ain't beat nobody A&M. A&M that got beat by Auburn A&M. So, no, I'm not going to put Bama in the top 4. I'm not going to put them in the top 5. They're number 8 behind Georgia, who's got a better win. Remember that? Y'all want to use that argument, then use it well. I got OU standing pat at 9 with a 42-41 win against Iowa State that we're all unhappy about. And then at number 10 and then 11, just for posterity there, Oregon and then Utah. Oregon because it has a top 25 win against Washington, and because its loss is to a good Auburn team, it's 2 loss, whereas Utah's loss is to USC, which ain't a good, very, very good football team, is going to get their football coach fired. So that's how I see it shaping up. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Drop your top 10. Tell me who your top 4 are. Argue with me. That's what you do. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.